Welcome back to your daily dose of rage bait, where a 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee gets stabbed in the neck 3 times on public transit for no apparent reason. This video is titled, "One of the Worst Things I've Ever Seen." And yes, the video is on X.
This is just one of the worst things that I've ever seen in my life. And it is just so out there. It's the sort of thing that you would just never would think would happen. And it's a level of savagery that is just... it borders on the incomprehensible. Now, of course, I can't show you the video.
I mean, I understand my worldview is warped considering that I consume hours and hours of social media content with an inherent negativity bias because we as humans are attracted to the doom and gloom. You can say all you want about social media radicalizing people, but there comes a point where you got to call a spade here. And watching the blood drip off this man's fingers after killing this innocent girl is batshit insane.
But the video is widely available on Twitter. I mean, I saw it earlier today, just scrolling through, and it's this. And so I will describe what happens, but like I said, there is something genuinely wrong with a society that treats its criminals and mentally ill people.
This happened in Charlotte, North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. And I've taken a train in Charlotte to Raleigh.
In the way that modern Western societies did. So people back in, like, the 19th century would complain about the asylum system. They'd be like, well, they're just being treated like animals. They're being treated like there's something wrong. Modern medical techniques and drugs can help these people live normal lives. It's like, yeah, assuming that they choose to take the drugs, assuming they choose to cooperate with the medical techniques. But if they're not under supervision, how are you going to make them do it? But anyway, the asylums were shut down, and so now, insane people who, and that's the best explanation we have so far, it could be there's something far deeper and much more racialized that underpins this.
I mean, you'd have to be insane to do this. She's minding her own business. This is a senseless act of violence. There's no provocation. There's no motive, which is why it's so evil. Because oftentimes we're looking at these stories for some underlying theme here, but reality hits us, and the unpredictability and the lightning bolt ways in which this behavior just like randomly strikes people has got to be addressed. You had a woman be lit on fire on a New York City subway station. You've had a guy get his neck slashed. And everyone always talks about, like, the cities are safe, public transit's fine. Personally, I have too much responsibility and things that I care about. The risk to reward ratio is not there for me. I'd rather spend $100 knowing every time I can get to point A to point B safely than risk the 0.001% RNG chance where I just get killed.
Are just free to roam the streets. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, there's a black man, there's a white woman, therefore this is racial. I don't know. Right? I don't know that this is racial. I do know...
It doesn't even matter if it's racial. This behavior is fucking crazy.
This person is mental, and that is the only legal information we actually have on him yet.
It's just the optics are not good, and we've been talking about this.
But I'm not in any way saying that it's unlikely that he is mental and also hates white people. I think that's very likely. Because what happens here is, this is a train. He's just sat on this train, the CCTV are capturing it. And this young lady gets on. She's a Ukrainian refugee. She was 23. She gets on. She doesn't even make eye contact with him. Why would she? He's just like looking out the window. She just gets on, starts looking at her phone. Then after a few moments, he rummages around his pocket, pulls out, opens a penknife, and then stabs her in the side of the throat out of nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. No interaction whatsoever.
This is why, like, I don't understand. Like, why don't you want more security? Deploy the National Guard to every major city. Fuck it. What is the downside? Less crime?
It's the most savage thing I've ever seen. Now, you'll know that I'm a massive advocate for the death penalty. So, I mean, I would have him swinging by the end of the day if I were the one in charge of all of this. But, of course, that's not the world we live in. And honestly, who bloody knows what's going to happen to him, right? So anyway, there are news reports about this. This is her name was difficult to pronounce because it was Ukrainian. Irina Zarutuska, she was an actual refugee from Ukraine.
I don't even know if capital punishment fixes this, to be honest. Maybe Hammurabi had it right, eye for an eye. Perhaps it makes the world go blind. There's a part of me where I don't think jail is appropriate. Like, there's a level of brutality where it's just like, what do we do with this?
Was stabbed, allegedly, by DeCarlos Dewan Brown.
All I'm saying is, if you cut off everyone's dick and balls and hung them upside down in a coliseum and televised it, it would probably cut down crime.
Junior. And he was just found wandering around on the platform after people had called the police and they came to arrest him. And apparently he was treated for a hand injury, so he'd injured himself while murdering her because she was pronounced dead after suffering a stab wound in the throat.
He was taken to a hospital so that they could fix his hand. I mean, I guess that's the order of operations, but a lot of people are not even comfortable with the fact that he's afforded that luxury.
Honestly, it's just awful, and I don't recommend that you watch it. It's so savage.
The video shows blood dripping onto the floor as the suspect walks away. Detective said that there appeared to be no prior interaction between the two.
There's just no reason for it, and it's just the hardest hit he can, straight into her throat, and that's it. And can you remember, like, her day would have been so normal up until that point, I bet, that she's just wandering around, and this happened in Charlotte, North Carolina, I think. But she was just wandering around. There's a completely normal day for her. She's just having a normal day. She just
walks away. That tells you his mental state. Yeah. I think to kill people, you got to be pretty fucked in the head.
Gets on the train, she's going home, and then she's dead. Like, what? Is she somehow responsible for black oppression in America? Like, what the fuck has a Ukrainian girl got to do with any of that? If that is indeed the reason this was done.
Yeah, like, jury's out if this was like a targeted thing. Or just wrong place, wrong time, horrific act of violence.
But anyway, her death has raised new concerns in Charlotte about the safety of public transportation, with community members calling for stronger protections on buses and trains. Things that wouldn't have stopped him. It was so quick because he just...
Remember the Marine who got arrested for choking out the guy? If you do anything, better hope the public will defend you. You're talking about Daniel Penny, I think his name was. Was he acquitted? Was he found not guilty? See, the optics of that was that he was the oppressor, and whenever you have white on black or black on white videos and crimes, it's always going to be dissected from like a power optic racist angle. That's just the way it is. There's no denying that. I don't know if it's a one-to-one example of anarcho-tyranny, but this is what we've been talking about pretty regularly. You can't really do anything as a law-abiding citizen, or like you can't have acts of heroism and defend yourself, because oftentimes the system, the state, is set up in a way where the actual perpetrator is awarded disproportionately to your act of defense or whatever. You can't win. That's why people in New York City and other major cities, I swear to God, ask any girl or young man that commutes into the city to work, because that's where their jobs are. The tech is to, I mean, I wouldn't recommend this, but put headphones in, a hoodie, mind your business, don't make eye contact, read a book, and actually just be invisible. Because if you look at somebody the wrong way, guess what? You could be dying and choking in a pool of your own blood for no fucking reason. And sure, maybe the news does fearmonger, right? People say that we live in a time period that's safer than ever. But I just don't want to be on the receiving end of any of those videos. Everyone is so stuck in their own little bubble. There's no actual community or social cohesion. Nobody's going to step up and protect each other.
Like, realizes that she's there, gets his knife, and then just stabs her. No, you wouldn't have had time to intervene. It's just one strike and she's dead. Like, the problem is the existence.
But if that's not the actual decline of society as we know it, then I don't know what is. If you can't look after your fellow man, if you can't stand up for yourself, you have Arkham Asylum villains out here just running society, ruining it for everyone, getting away with their crimes.
In communities of insane, violent people with mental health problems, and that's the official narrative. You can look at her Wikipedia page. There's a Wikipedia page of this already, right? The suspect, DeCarlos Brown Jr., was a 34-year-old homeless black man with a lengthy criminal record dating back to 2011. He'd been convicted of multiple offences, including robbery.
Not a single person even tried to stop it. They all just pretended they didn't just watch a woman get murdered in front of their faces. Honestly, I don't even know what you do in that situation. I like to think that, like, somebody would try to do something, but, like, fuck, man. If somebody has a knife and just fucking killed someone, I don't think another person is going to be eager to, like, save the day. Bystander syndrome. And, I would have to blink really hard to even comprehend that just took place in front of my eyes.
Robbery with a dangerous weapon, breaking and entering, felony larceny, and misuse of the 9/11 system. He'd approximately served 6 years in a North Carolina prison and was released in 2020. Subsequent arrests included charges for assault on a female in 2022 and a misuse of the 911.
I mean, I think the grim reality of this situation was that, like, bro, you can't, after one slash to the throat, like, the damage is done.
System in 25, where he claimed man-made material was...
She was minding her business on her phone, and then, like, she didn't know she was about to just die. Gruesome.
Controlling his body, right? So, I mean, don't get me wrong, he may well have hated white people, but I think it's fair to say that he was also absolutely mental, some sort of absent schizo, right? So you've got a violent...
Yeah, I mean, here you have on the Wikipedia all of his different crimes. It's the catch and release prison system we have here in America. There's no actual rehabilitation. There's no actual therapy. It's just... Yep, no, you're good. Go back on the street.
Schizo on the streets, and everyone knows it. Now, there is the Bukele option, which is lock up violent schizos for the protection of everyone else. You'd be like, oh, but what about the human rights? And Bukele's got a good answer to that. What about the human rights of people who don't want to get stabbed? The human rights of the people who are not doing anything wrong, who are not going around terrorizing society. Isn't that more important than the human rights of the people who are going to terrorize them? And so, I find myself in full agreement with this. Because, I mean, when you see... just the amount of times, again, 14 times he's been let out of custody.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And you look at his face and you realize this is not a well man. This guy is a maniac. He is obviously someone who doesn't feel remorse. He is someone who doesn't care about the people around him.
Or he's not even in the fucking headspace to even mentalize his actions. Like,
there's a reason that he's like a homeless crack addict or whatever. Like, this guy can't function in a free and modern society. This is not the way that he is built for...
Yeah, this is just not him unless he's wearing a disguise.
Whatever reason. And again, I'm not trying to pass judgment. This is just obviously the case. And you could take the more sort of liberal perspective and say, okay, he's a man who's been failed by the system. He's a man who needed help and didn't have it. So, yeah, okay. So why allow him to roam around the streets on his own? If he is a dangerous schizophrenic, which, again, is the most charitable interpretation of this, then do we not have an obligation to him as well as society at large to make sure that he's not on the streets? Such people, and I realise it's a bitter pill for the average lib to swallow, but such people must be deprived of their freedom. They are dangerous to themselves and everyone else.
Peter Thiel, why have you forsaken us? Where's Palantir when you need it?
They can't be allowed to roam the streets. They are not productive members of society. They're not going to become productive members of society. And if at any point this lunatic had been, okay, right, that's one too many crimes, you're going to the asylum and you're just going to be locked up there. You're just not...
One time, shame on you. Twice, shame on me. 14 times!
Sane... and will have, psychiatric evaluations, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you'll get sane, who knows. But for now, while you're currently mental, and before you just stab some random girl in the neck for having the temerity to exist near you for whatever, it could be the man-made material controlling your body or whatever it is, you fucking fruitcake, you have to go to the asylum. You should not be out. You are a danger to others. And this is genuinely a real issue. That I know it's, again, difficult for the lib to accept. But But there is a much higher rate of schizophrenia in the black community than there is in other communities. Now, I don't know why. I have no idea why. I'm not a doctor.
I can't speak on that. I have no idea. I'd have to ask the psychologist.
But the point is, that's real and that's true. And so that should be something that's considered.
I think a lot of people would be surprised to know that genetics play a huge role in a lot of things, especially mental health conditions. And that very well could be the case. But I don't even want to make this about left versus right, because I think a lot of people on the right aren't even right wing. They're just... The Overton window has shifted so much. But as he positions the libtard, the suicidal empathy maxers, they can't comprehend like any nuance in that statement. Like, perhaps that is true, that schizophrenia is more prevalent. But schizophrenia doesn't always extrapolate into murder.
Right? That should be something that's taken into account. And that should be something that is dealt with before they go and kill someone for no reason. Again, in the most barbaric...
Not wanting to get murdered on the subway isn't right wing. Yeah, that's a good point.
...of ways. But the thing is, they acknowledge, there's problems with the criminal justice.
Yeah, that one escaped us. Just a bit of oversight.
Service. In the wake of this. And again, this only happened today, right? So... This raises questions about the effectiveness of the judicial system and the community's failures to address mental health. Even Brown's mother has blamed the courts for allowing her son to be out in the community. Right. So, again, I don't know that this is a race thing, and a lot of people are trying to make it a race thing, but it doesn't immediately strike me as a race thing. It strikes me immediately as the mother being like, yeah, my son was dangerous to other people. Why are you letting him out? He should be in some place where he doesn't have access to sharp objects forever. Yeah,
I don't know if this daily dance of live streaming and consuming media is radicalizing or more enlightening.
Where is it? There we go. Right, so District Attorney Spencer Merriweather, bound by legal rules, wouldn't comment directly on the case, but he spoke broadly with Axios about the limitations and complexities of holding accountable defendants with mental health issues. Often defendants must undergo an evaluation to determine whether they are mentally capable of assisting in their own defence. Merriweather noted that some defendants stay in mental health facilities for years while courts wait for them to reach capacity to stand trial. In some instances, judges eventually dismiss cases, releasing people who commit dangerous acts. They also say the standards for involuntary commitment are more complex than they seem. Okay, I'm not going to go into the details of it, but the point being, if someone is not capable, mentally capable, of being involved in their own defence, then why is it that they are mentally capable of being on the streets?
Yeah, if you're not able to stand trial for yourself and even defend yourself, I mean, like, at what point do we draw the line with your agency to interact with the general public?
Why is it that they are considered to be mentally capable to live in society with the rest of us before they can go on and do something terrible? Like, again, it's not even... I mean, it obviously, the main cause of concern here is society itself. But also, isn't it bad for them? Like, no, we're just going to release this mentally ill hobo onto the streets. What's going to happen to him? I'm sure it'll be fine. No, it's not going to be fine. It's totally irresponsible. It's like the concept of liberty taken to its most...
Yeah, that's my son. I kicked him out and made homeless, and that's the court's fault somehow. I don't know. It's just failures from all different angles, bro. This is just...
extreme, ridiculous nth degree. These people should be taken care of, and that means if someone isn't...
Thomas Jefferson said, if you give up your freedom for safety, you deserve neither. We don't have either. We are not free, and we are not safe. So, I don't know. Maybe we need a new social contract.
Mentally capable of even defending themselves in court, they shouldn't be free. They should be in an asylum to make sure they can't harm themselves or others. That's just, I mean, it's just, that's the responsible thing to do. That is the social thing to do. To put them out on the streets, like
I at least want one or the other.
Democrats doubtless have been campaigning for. That's the irresponsible thing to do. That's the path to anarcho-tyranny. That's not good. This is not good for them. It's not good for us.
I told you, anarcho-tyranny. Put that one in your vocabulary book. Quiz next Tuesday.
Solves no problems whatsoever. This doesn't help anyone. These people need to be put.
That Thomas Jefferson quote is a bit sus too when you look at the context. If I recall correctly, he's arguing for the state against some rich guy in his private army. Been a while since I looked.
Back in asylums. And you know what? I'm all for it. Make asylums great again. This would have prevented this from happening. This isn't a necessary thing.
Yeah, this is a mental health issue.
It's not like, well, this is just the risk you take for living in a society. No, this is the consequence of policy. These are choices that we have made. And frankly, we need to unmake. This doesn't have to happen.
Yep. Ruined my morning. I don't think I should be subject to all of this from like a social media diet perspective. It's got to be wreaking havoc on my subconscious. That's why I don't go outside. I just roll everywhere around in my Herman Miller chair. Let's see the comment section. It's got to be juicy. I mean, it's every comment that you would expect.